Imagine for a moment that no matter what happens, no matter what obstacle is thrown your way, you act as if everything is unfolding exactly according to plan, not pretending with blind optimism, not deluding yourself with naive hope, but carrying yourself with the unshakable conviction that every outcome, victory, setback, betrayal, or chaos, belongs to you. That is not faith. That is power. And Machiavelli would tell you it is the most dangerous posture a person can take, because it makes you unbreakable, untouchable, and terrifying to those who expect to see you stumble. Most people betray themselves not when things go wrong, but when others are watching. They panic, they complain, they lose their composure, and the illusion of control they tried to project evaporates. Their enemies don't even need to defeat them. These people defeat themselves by showing the world that their confidence was fragile, dependent on external validation. Machiavelli's insight was that true strength is not found in the outcome itself, but in the appearance that you command it, no matter what it looks like. You act as if everything always works out, and others are forced to follow that script because perception is more powerful than truth. This is why rulers, generals, and leaders across centuries have understood the necessity of the mask. A leader who trembles at bad news invites revolt. A general who panics when the tide of battle turns invites desertion. But the one who appears calm, who moves as though every twist was foreseen and every disaster already accounted for, creates fear and awe. Even when the walls are collapsing, if you stand tall and make others believe the collapse is a doorway, you will walk them through it. People crave certainty. If you give it to them, even when it is an illusion, they will follow you into hell itself. The ordinary person treats misfortune as a personal insult. They sulk, curse their luck, and reveal to everyone that their identity is chained to circumstances. The Machiavellian mind treats misfortune as raw material. It is not bad luck, it is opportunity in disguise. To act as if everything always works out is to train yourself to bend reality into whatever form you need, not because reality changes instantly, but because people's perception of it does. And perception, in power, is the only currency that matters. Consider the battlefield. Two commanders receive the same setback, reinforcements delayed. The first curses the heavens, reveals fear to his men, and spreads despair through the ranks. The second laughs, raises his voice, and declares, "Perfect, now we lure them closer before we crush them." The delay is the same, the event is the same, but the perception, and therefore the morale, is entirely different. Which commander do you think his soldiers will die for? Which commander do you think the enemy begins to fear, wondering how setbacks only seem to fuel his strength? This is Machiavelli's lesson. The world bends to the one who appears unbending. The mind must be conditioned for this posture. It does not come naturally, because human beings are wired for fear. We anticipate disaster, and when it arrives, we recoil. To act as if everything always works out, you must sever yourself from the instinct of panic. This means rehearsing in your mind the worst-case scenario until it no longer terrifies you. You ask yourself, what if the deal collapses? What if the ally betrays me? What if the plan fails? And each time you imagine yourself not destroyed, but adapting, using it, twisting it into something new. When you teach your mind to see every outcome as usable, you eliminate the possibility of defeat. How can you be defeated if you have already decided that loss itself is fuel? Enemies will try to read you. They will look for cracks in your confidence, for signs of despair, for the moment you finally admit to yourself that it is over. But you never give them that gift. Even when you are bleeding, even when resources are scarce, even when you know the path ahead is uncertain, you project the aura of inevitability. The aura that says, this is exactly how it is supposed to be. And suddenly, their advantage loses its meaning, because they cannot shake you. They begin to doubt, and doubt spreads faster than truth. There is a subtle genius here. To act as if everything always works out is not to deny reality. It is to rewrite it in the minds of others. You do not tell them, I am winning. You show them, through your calm, your refusal to panic, your ability to continue moving forward, that winning is the only interpretation that makes sense. And because people are herd creatures, they will believe it. They will align their perception with yours, even against the evidence of their own eyes. This is how great leaders survive crises that should have destroyed them. This is how underdogs become kings. Think of Caesar crossing the Rubicon with a single legion against the might of Rome. Logic said he was doomed, but he acted as though destiny had already chosen him. He moved with confidence, with inevitability, and his enemies scattered before him. Why? Because confidence is contagious and fear is weak. When you act as though everything always works out, you are no longer asking people to believe in you. You are forcing them to reconcile with your reality. They may hate you, they may plot against you, but they cannot help but feel that you will prevail. This posture, however, must be ruthless. You cannot afford cracks in the performance. One moment of panic undoes months of composure. The mask must be permanent, the act unbroken. This does not mean lying with words, it means lying with presence. Even in private, you discipline yourself not to crumble. You can calculate, you can adjust, you can rage internally, but when you face the world, you are unshakable. To your enemies, you are fate incarnate. To your allies, you are certainty itself. And to yourself, you are the only one writing the script. The danger of this philosophy is that it can be mistaken for delusion. But understand, it is not that everything always works out. It is that you make it appear that way, and appearances shape reality. Your failure only becomes failure when you accept it as such. If you refuse, if you bend it into a stepping stone, then others are forced to see it as part of your ascent. That is why the Machiavellian mind plays the long game. Every setback today is framed as a necessary move toward tomorrow's victory. And once people start believing that narrative, your power compounds. Now ask yourself, how do you respond when things collapse around you? Do you let your face reveal panic? Do you curse your fortune? Do you signal to the world that you are fragile, that your control is gone? Or do you breathe, straighten your back, and act as though this too was written in the script of your rise? If you cannot master this, you will forever be at the mercy of perception. But if you can, you will find yourself in a position most never reach, the position where people begin to whisper that you cannot be defeated. And that whisper, that illusion of inevitability, is worth more than armies, more than wealth, more than laws. Because once people believe you cannot lose, they will stop trying to make you lose. They will bend before you, just to avoid the humiliation of resisting. This is the Machiavellian secret hidden behind the simple phrase, act as if everything always works out. It is not hope. It is not naivety. It is strategy. It is the manipulation of appearances, the harnessing of perception, and the forging of a reputation so unyielding that reality itself seems forced to obey. This is where true dominance begins, not in victory itself, but in the art of making every path appear to lead there. And the one who masters this act walks through fire untouched, while others burn in the smoke of their own panic. To live this way, to carry yourself as if everything always works out, demands more than surface-level confidence. It requires a transformation of how you interpret reality itself. The average person thinks in binaries, success or failure, win or lose, right or wrong, but the Machiavellian thinker dissolves these categories. There is no failure. There is only material for future manipulation. There is no wrong turn, only an alternate route to the same inevitable destination. When you train your mind to think this way, you stop being reactive and start becoming untouchable. The world feeds on reactions. When you panic, you give your enemies a weapon. When you sulk, you feed your rivals evidence of your weakness. When you complain, you announce to the world that you are powerless. This is why Machiavelli advised rulers to master appearances. Even if you are drowning, if you act as though you are merely swimming deeper, others hesitate to declare you lost. And hesitation is the first step toward their surrender. To act as if everything always works out is to refuse the world the spectacle of your defeat. Without that spectacle, even your setbacks lose power. Think about how legends are born, not from men who never suffered losses, but from those who made losses appear like destiny itself. Alexander the Great suffered defeats, yet his aura of inevitability grew. Napoleon was driven back, yet his legend endured because he moved as though each retreat was part of a grander plan. The perception of invincibility does not require perfection. It requires control of the narrative. And you control the narrative by behaving as if every event, however dire, belongs to you. Here lies the paradox. The more calmly you face chaos, the more chaos serves you. Enemies will imagine that you know something they don't. Allies will grow more loyal because they see steadiness where they expected collapse. Even chance itself seems to bend, because your refusal to panic allows you to see opportunities that others miss. To act as if everything always works out does not magically change events. It changes how you exploit them. Consider betrayal. Most people, when betrayed, collapse emotionally. They rage, they expose their hurt, they reveal how dependent they were on the loyalty of another. This is weakness, and once displayed, it invites more betrayal. But if you, when betrayed, nod calmly, smile, and act as though you anticipated it, you steal the traitor's victory. You deny them the satisfaction of shaking you. And more importantly, you turn the tables. Now it is they who are unsettled, wondering what trap they may have just walked into. You have acted as if even their treachery was part of your script, and perception begins to shift in your favor. This posture, however, is not passive. It is active deception. Acting as though everything always works out means you must never allow your true calculations to leak. You may be suffering in silence. You may be recalculating furiously, but to the outside world, you are calm, unbothered, inevitable. This is why Machiavelli prized self-control above all else. Not the absence of fear or pain, but the discipline to mask it perfectly. The mask does not simply hide weakness. It converts weakness into strength, because those who see it begin to project their own interpretations of your power. In war, this is the difference between survival and annihilation. Armies collapse not when the enemy strikes hardest, but when morale breaks. And morale breaks when soldiers see fear in their leader's eyes. A single moment of despair spreads like fire, consuming entire legions. But the leader who walks calmly among the wounded, who speaks as though victory is certain even while surrounded by ruin, creates the illusion that fate is on their side. And once men believe fate favors their leader, they fight like demons to match it. The same law applies in everyday life. In business, the entrepreneur who reacts to every setback with panic loses investors, employees, and trust. The one who acts as if even failure was part of the larger design inspires confidence, even if the ground beneath them is crumbling. In relationships, the person who begs, who chases, who reveals desperation when things falter, loses respect. The one who acts as though they are never truly abandoned, that every departure only clears space for something greater, becomes magnetic. People cannot resist those who seem immune to loss. Understand this. When you act as if everything always works out, you create a gravitational pull. Humans crave stability, certainty, and a sense of inevitability. Most cannot find it within themselves, so they look for it in others. When you embody it, you become a magnet. Allies cling to you. Enemies hesitate. Even strangers are drawn to your presence because it radiates a quality they lack. This is why appearing unshaken is not merely a defensive posture. It is a weapon of influence. But let us be clear. This is not about arrogance. Arrogance is loud, boastful, and brittle. Acting as if everything always works out is quiet, subtle, and terrifying in its steadiness. You do not need to shout your confidence. You embody it. You do not need to declare victory. You behave as though victory is inevitable. And in time, reality often bends to meet perception because people's actions, driven by belief, begin to shape the outcome in your favor. Here is the hidden advantage. When others believe everything always works out for you, they unconsciously assist in making it true. They give you opportunities, they lower their guard, they assume your path is charmed. Enemies may even hesitate to challenge you directly, fearing they are playing into your hands. And every hesitation, every miscalculation they make because of your aura becomes another brick in your fortress of inevitability. This strategy requires endurance. There will be times when the weight of events tempts you to break the mask. You will want to scream, to confess, to reveal how uncertain you truly feel. Resist it. Every second you hold the mask intact, the illusion grows stronger. Every act of composure builds your legend. And once you have built a reputation for inevitability, it will carry you further than any single act of strength could. Machiavelli understood that reputations outlive reality. A man may die, but the idea of him being undefeatable can echo for centuries. Ask yourself, do you want to be seen as another fragile soul crushed by circumstance? Or do you want to be remembered as the one who walked through storms as though they were gentle breezes? To act as if everything always works out is to embrace the role of destiny itself. And destiny, once believed in, cannot be resisted. When you master this, something remarkable happens. Your inner world transforms. What began as a mask becomes your nature. At first, you act. You force composure, you hide panic, you project inevitability. But over time, the act hardens into reality. You begin to believe it yourself. You stop seeing setbacks as final, and you start using them instinctively. You stop craving certainty from others because you carry it within yourself. And then the mask is no longer a mask, it is who you are. This is the ultimate Machiavellian victory. To craft an illusion so perfectly that it becomes reality. To train yourself so thoroughly that you truly live as though everything always works out. Not because fortune spares you, but because you refuse to interpret fortune as anything but your ally. And once you live this way, you are untouchable, because there is no scenario in which you can be broken. You will always adapt, always bend perception, always appear inevitable. And in a world ruled by perception, that is the closest a human can come to invincibility.